I wear the Q collar because as a professional women's lacrosse player, it is a very physical sport and I want to play for as long as possible. So having a simple piece of equipment like the Q collar will prolong my career as long as possible.
Welcome back to the Aya Women Q Collar Recruiting Brain Trust. I'm Riley Kennedy, Alyssa Marie Cometti, and Emily Considine. We're now talking about midfield and the draw. Some of the attack girls also take the draw, so their names might be thrown in here. But talking about the midfielders, I think this college coaches obviously love two-way midfielders. I guess just kind of off the top of the bat, what are the midfielders that stand out to you? Obviously, Riley Davis is the number one overall recruit and number one midfielder. What do you guys think? What midfielders come to your mind when you're looking at this list?
Obviously, we usually have a lot of highly ranked midfielders because they are so heavily sought after. They don't always end up staying as midfielders, but initially going into college, they end up that way. Riley Davis is one, Avery Fordham, Kelsey Young, Emma Switter, all in the top 10. And I think they're all really solid. We talked about it with the attackers where, non-traditional areas like an Emma Switter, she may just completely pop off in college.
Yeah.
Because she has super high ceiling. I love how fast she is. She does a little bit of everything. She, 1v1s. She's super fast. She's great in transition. She can also play off ball. Wins the draw. So
she does a little bit of everything.
Yeah, she's just solid all around. And to her credit, she does an impact everywhere she goes.
Yeah. Emily, you got anybody in mind?
I think we need to touch on Riley Davis and she's like a freak athlete.
Yeah.
Just, nearly 6 feet tall, runs for days, has muscle on her, which, girls in high school, I think, aren't really putting on too much muscle until they get to college. Maybe that's dating myself since we didn't lift till we got to college. But she's, a basketball player. So actually turned down the opportunity to pursue basketball at the next level to focus on lacrosse. So she has a different mindset when it comes to reading slides on the field and anticipating plays on either side of the ball. So I think she's just super well-rounded and just can really win her matchup on both sides.
I think there used to be more of a common thread between basketball players playing lacrosse, and so you used to see that crossover, no pun intended, more often. But so Davis is kind of like a throwback to that, and I think her game also reflects that. I think one of the things that she does best is tracking the ball off ball when it's in the air and timing the knockdown well, and you kind of can compare that to, a backside rebound and that sort of thing when you're swinging the ball and you're playing a zone and coming up and reading a pass like that. So I think that is what makes her unique and probably what makes her, just different when it comes to picking who is the top player in the class. And so, I think her basketball knowledge and ability is far and away one of the best things about her as a player because it's just made her that much more well-rounded.
Yeah, and I was looking at just the midfield, and I think if you're going to pick a girl that could probably go into the 26 class right now, I would probably think it'd be Riley Davis because I think that she fits in and she could probably do that out of any of these midfielders on the list. All right, well, midfielders, do you guys have any two-way midfielders that kind of come to mind? Obviously, Riley Davis plays two-way, but anybody else that maybe defensive-minded you could start with or, anybody that plays two ways?
Well, let's start with stay on track with the two ways. I think Madison Herr from Yellow Jacket, Shoreham Wading River is one of them. Super D1 ready, does everything on both sides of the ball, elite speed. She scores in transition. She's got a mean little hesitation dodge just to get that defender on their heels. So I think she's one. She's right there. Number 14, totally ready. Super fast. So that's one.
Yeah. Kelsey Young is just so much fun to watch. She plays with so much energy. She plays with a little bit of grit, a little bit of a chip on her shoulder. She comes from, her mom was a longtime Division I coach, so I'm sure that she's been, in the mindset of playing at the next level for a while and knows what it takes to get there. Every play she's playing like it's her last play she's ever gonna be a part of. So it's really fun to watch her play. And I think that she can bring a lot to the next level, you know, both on and off the field. I think she has that determination that just fires up and carries some momentum on a team.
And
Yeah.
then Avery Fordham too.
Agree.
Yeah,
Agree.
she's another two-way, and I think you can see like the more potential they have. Same Maya Torgalkar, the more potential they have to play both ways, the higher they skew, the higher they rank, because that's how they're valued. You know,
Valuable.
you talk to any of these college coaches, and that's the reflection of rankings, because they want to have the flexibility of deciding where they fit into their respective systems. And so Fordham is another reflection of that. She's always diving in after loose balls, which, you know, when I was a coach, I would always say it's a mentality. Like it's something that can't always be taught. It's either you're going to get in there or you're going to, you know, lay off.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's one of those players that does that.
And Avery Fordham, she plays for Aces Elite in Penfield, and she just led Penfield to its first ever New York State championship this last spring. So, congrats to Penfield and her. How about defensive-minded midfielders?
Yeah, Olivia Brady comes to mind. I think she'll probably be a midfielder at the next level, but her defensive mindset, she is like a gnat. She's one of those like annoying defenders that is just not going to lay off until you make a mistake or get rid of the ball. And then she's, you know, breaking down the other end and causing a fast break opportunity. So I think she's super valuable on the defensive side, but also in transition, which makes me think that's why she'll stay in the midfield. But yeah, her timing of her checks, her back check, her body positioning, just overall really understands what it means to be a defender.
Definitely like a glue player.
Yeah. How about draw specialists? I don't know how many draw specialists are really on this list that really specialize in the draw. But how about we can talk about, if you guys have one, say that, but also girls that also do the draw.
Sure.
We can just talk about that as a whole.
Go ahead.
I think Allie Reisner, I don't know if she would be identified as a true specialist.
Yeah.
I think she's probably a midi that takes the draw, but she does a really nice job. She communicates with her teammates really well in the circle. She can win it herself. She can place it. And she incorporates herself on the offensive side very, very well. She's a true athlete, and she just, you know, is one of those middies on the field that rarely makes a mistake. And you can kind of tell when she's not on the field because things just don't seem to flow as easily.
I would say Saya Hansra.
That's funny because I was just going to say her too.
Yeah, when she gets on a roll, like, you know, you see it on the men's side with face-offs. Like sometimes these guys go like 19 for 20 or ridiculous numbers. You know, she's sort of similar in that way where it's like when she starts getting in a rhythm and it's like, it doesn't matter who you put up against her. Like she's knows
quick.
that whistle.
Yeah.
Her wrists are there. Same thing we already mentioned, Switter. She's great on the draw, can kind of win it in a variety of ways, whether it's using the circle players or winning it to herself. But I think Saya's really good at just like flat out winning off the self draw.
And she's developed tremendously over the last like 2 years. And that's a kid that is from Canada.
Yeah, I think
So-
it'll be cool to kind of see her. She seems like she's a player that's really poised to make an impact on the international level as well.
Yeah.
Really fit right into, you know, Team Canada. So it'd be interesting.
Plays with a lot of swagger too.
Yeah, I like her style.
I think she's got that leg sleeve that she wears. All right, well, let's talk about like midfielders that kind of set the pace and tone for their teams. Any leaders? You know, you said Allie Reisner kind of came to your mind a little bit with communication and stuff. Any kind of alphas in this midfield class of 2027?
I would say Vanny is probably a real tone setter. Charlotte Vanny, she does a really nice job. I think she's been a high impact player on both her club and high school team for many years. So she is able to step in and be that leadership role without hesitation. She really commands both sides of the ball very well and is just like very even keeled and knows when to turn it on.
Presley Upton comes to mind for me in a different way. Like, she's just a very pretty looking lacrosse
Very
player.
poised.
Like, so calm. And sometimes you need a little bit of that. Like, me as a player, I was like, you knew exactly how I was feeling because I was like crazy. And so but like, what I wanted to be was like Presley Upton, where it's like calm, controlled, where like
Right.
every emotion I had, everyone knew it.
Yeah.
Where she is very controlled, very, cool under pressure, can handle anything, and also just like gets it done. She does like super finesse player. I think that she's totally like a player that her teammates probably look to in big moments because she's calm and under control.
Makes sense.
All right. Well, if you're gonna build a team around one midfielder, who would you guys do?
Oh, that's a hard question.
Now, if you guys want to say Riley Davis, we can get that out of the way because that's probably an obvious answer. But give me one, maybe in a top 50 midfielder or one that may be a little bit underrated.
Sure. I think Jenna Oblage.
Okay.
I know that's something that Alyssa and I have talked about, that she definitely she's not a fully cooked recruit.
Yeah.
Like, she has so much potential. And I think that, I don't know, maybe an offense formed around her, but maybe her fitting into just an offense really cleanly. And I think she'll be super coachable, and just, she'll fit a mold similar to, how we talked about Maeve Shanahan very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I would say, I'm trying to, obviously the higher rankings are obvious. We think very highly of them. But one that we might not have talked about, but also I think is really solid, is probably Isabella Virtue. She can kind of attack from anywhere. She's really good at battling on the 50-50s. Just plays hard, does everything at full speed. And I think the more you do that as a player, the more success that's going to come. Just having that attitude of like, full tilt, empty the tank, like it's just contagious. So you have that energy everywhere you go. Your teammates are going to pick that up from you. So if I'm building around a specific player, I'm going to build it around someone that's emptying the tank on every rep.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of good midfielders on this list, and some that, and I've wrote about some of them that would probably go into a team that, a veteran team or some. There's midfielders on this list, I guess, that might not be that alpha. So there's a lot of good midfielders on this list that can just walk into any college program and be pretty well. Like Emma Switter, like you said, I think she's going to fit really well on whatever team that gets her, but may not be that number one midfielder that, that you're going to give the ball to and try to get a goal. However, though, you get a lot of years of college, so you can probably do that. Give me one like underrated player or a midfielder that you'd buy stock in the midfield unit.
I can go first.
Go ahead.
Reagan Lawton, I think, is also another player that has a lot of potential. Player from New Hampshire, which is very cool and something that we don't see too often, even though it is growing out there. But she and her twin sister are just super, super athletic. And I think, if their skills can catch up to their athleticism, they're going to be lights out.
I would say Taylor Fick from Manchester Valley, M&D.
Yeah.
Just someone who's probably grown up, playing M&D. Those kids are always college ready. They have a storied history of really, really, really talented players. She's college ready. She's a 5-star. She's exceptional off ball. And so just one of those players that can probably slide into a unit and just make an impact. And it doesn't necessarily have to be goal scoring, but she can. It doesn't have to be winning draws, but she can. And she's can kind of slide in wherever needed.
Yeah, I think one that comes to mind for me is Sophia Graham. I think a lot of college coaches probably like her. She's ranked in the top 30, plays for Aces and CNS in New York, and she's just like a track kid. She can play two-way, does a lot of things really, really well, and there's not really, anything in her game that she can't do. So I think that she's an underrated player. And I mentioned this girl in the last episode with the attack, but Jenna Cratton also, she plays for Heroes. She does a lot of things well. She's just got a lethal shot. She can play both ways. But I could also see her playing attack too at the next level. So those are probably two girls that come to my mind. They're a little bit underrated or that you could buy stock in. So anything else that you guys have with this midfield and draw unit?
No, this is a really impactful midfield.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fun to watch them develop.
Agreed.
All right, well, that's the Iowa Woman Q Collar Recruiting Brain Trust Midfield and Draw Unit.